Welcome, everyone. All right, let's just get right into it. If you've ever lived with a cat, you've absolutely had this exact moment. You're chilling on the couch, you glance across the room, and your cat is just staring at you, totally unblinking. And in that quiet moment, this creeping universal doubt hits you, right? You think, do you actually love me, or am I literally just the giant hairless can opener that operates your food supply? Honestly, it's a completely fair question. Well, today in this explainer, we are going on a full-blown scientific mission to decode feline affection and figure out exactly what is going on behind those eyes.
Okay, let's dive into this because there's this really famous, hilarious joke online that describes a cat's resting face as the flat, unreadable expression of a tiny landlord deciding whether to raise your rent. I mean, hit the nail on the head, right? That perfectly captures how the internet sees cats. We're constantly told they're cold, they're selfish, they're super aloof. The whole myth is that they don't actually care about you, they just barely tolerate you. Like, we're basically just warm, oddly shaped vending machines, and the second we run out of kibble, it's game over for us. It's funny, for sure, but here is the fascinating twist. It's actually completely wrong. Science has been quietly busting this myth for years, and the real story of how your cat feels about you is just incredible. To really wrap our heads around this, we actually need to rewind the clock a bit. You see, the way dogs and cats ended up in our living rooms is fundamentally different. It's night and day. With dogs, humans literally took wolves and spent thousands of years engineering them. We selectively bred them to be biologically hardwired to need us and crave our attention. But cats? Well, cats basically self-domesticated. About 10,000 years ago, humans started farming and storing grain. That grain brought in a ton of mice, which then brought in the wildcats. It was just a mutually beneficial business transaction. They got a rodent buffet, we got free pest control. The key here is they were never engineered to need us. Which brings us to this absolutely beautiful reality. Your house cat's sitting there on your rug right now. It is genetically almost identical to its wild ancestors. For all practical purposes, you are sharing your home with a tiny wild animal that just decided, totally of its own free will, to live with you. Nobody forced love or dependency into a cat's DNA. They aren't running some pre-installed software program like a golden retriever is. And what that means is, when your cat does show you affection, it's a completely 100% voluntary choice. They don't have to like you, so any affection they show is incredibly authentic and deeply meaningful. Let's move to and see how this builds, because science actually found a way to measure this love. For the longest time, researchers just assumed cats were these emotionally self-contained loners. But then they tried something brilliant. They borrowed a classic psychology experiment that was originally meant for human babies, called the secure base test. It's a pretty simple setup. First, a cat and its owner walk into a totally unfamiliar, kind of scary room. Second, the owner leaves the cat in there all alone. Third, the owner comes back. And finally, the scientists carefully watch that reunion. They wanted to know, does the cat treat the human as a safe base in a scary place, or do they just ignore them? The results here totally destroyed the cold cat myth. A massive 67% of the cats showed what's called secure attachment. When their human came back into the room, these cats greeted them, visibly calmed down, and then actually felt brave enough to go explore this weird room. They were literally using their human as a safety anchor. Only 33% showed insecure attachment, either clinging desperately in a panic or just coldly ignoring the person. So the vast majority of cats actually look to us for comfort when they're stressed out. And this brilliantly illustrates a completely mind-blowing connection. Because that two-thirds statistic, it's not just some random majority. That is almost exactly the same proportion of secure attachment that you see in human babies. Let that sink in. Cats are forming secure emotional attachments to us at roughly the exact same rate that human infants bond with their parents. They don't just see you as a giant roommate who cleans the litter box. A huge, measurable chunk of cats view you the way a toddler sees their mom or dad, as their safe harbor in a scary world.
But wait, what about the whole vending machine theory, right? I mean, we all know cats go crazy for food. Well, the researchers tested that too. They put cats in a room and offered them a choice: human social interaction, food, toys, or interesting scents. Now, everyone assumed these supposedly selfish little predators would run straight for the snacks every single time. But nope, human interaction was highly preferred. A really significant number of cats actively chose just hanging out with a person over eating a treat. So the proof is right there. They aren't just in it for the snacks.
So if the science proves that they really do love us, why are we constantly feeling like they're ignoring us? Well, it all comes down to what we're going to call the feline Rosetta Stone. The root of this whole misunderstanding is that we're all basically waiting for a dog's kind of love, and we're judging our cats for not speaking dog. Think about it. Dogs come from pack animals. They literally shout their feelings across the pack with wagging tails and jumping up to lick your face. But wild cats, they are solitary hunters. A solitary animal communicates on a totally different frequency. They don't shout, they whisper. Let's translate a few of those whispers, shall we? Let's start with an absolute classic, the slow blink. You definitely know this look. Your cat is staring at you from across the living room. They lazily close their eyes, hold them shut for a brief second, and then slowly open them again. People often call this the cat kiss. Actually closing their eyes around another living creature is a huge signal of trust, vulnerability, and contentment. They are intentionally dropping their guard just to tell you, hey, I feel safe with you. If you catch them doing this, seriously, try slow blinking back. It builds incredible trust, and studies actually show they're highly likely to return the gesture. Next up on our translation guide is head bunting. When your cat strolls up and just aggressively bonks its forehead into your shin or it rubs its cheeks all over your leg, they aren't just scratching an itch. See, cats have these little scent glands right in their faces. By rubbing against you, they're actively mixing their own scent with yours. They are literally claiming you as part of their group, their family, their territory. It's this profound statement in the cat world. They're basically saying, all right, you smell like me now, you belong with me. And then, of course, we have kneading, or as the internet perfectly calls it, making biscuits. When your full-grown adult cat crawls into your lap, purring like a motor, maybe drooling just a tiny bit, and starts rhythmically squishing its paws into your leg, they are literally reverting back to kittenhood. Kittens do that exact motion to stimulate milk from their mothers. So when your cat makes biscuits on your stomach, they've slipped completely back into the headspace of a tiny, safe baby. They're associating you with maternal safety and the absolute deepest, most secure comfort they've ever experienced. Okay, now we've got to talk about the famously misunderstood and, yeah, slightly gross behavior, the gifts. You know, when they bring you a dead mouse or a giant bug at 4 in the morning. People joke that your cat thinks you're just a pathetic, terrible hunter who can't feed yourself. But the reality is actually so much sweeter. To a cat, dead prey equals family sharing. It's a deeply rooted, super affectionate instinct. Think about it. This solitary little hunter went out, caught a hard-earned meal, and instead of eating it on the spot, they carried it all the way back home just to share it with the ones they love. So the crucial point is this simple truth of the wild. A sleeping animal is a defenseless animal. And this, right here, is the ultimate proof of feline affection. Out in the wild, falling asleep is literally the most dangerous, vulnerable thing an animal can do. A solitary predator is absolutely not going to fall asleep next to another creature unless it feels totally 100% safe. When your tiny wildcat makes the choice to sleep curled up on your chest, they are handing you their complete and total trust. They are literally trusting you with their life while they're unconscious. Putting all of this together gives us this really beautiful, profound takeaway. Cat love is earned, not engineered. Let's be real, cat affection is genuinely different from dog love. It's quieter, it can be a bit more conditional, and it happens strictly on their terms. But honestly, that makes it infinitely more flattering. A dog kind of has to love you. We designed them that way. A cat has zero biological programming forcing them to like you. When a cat chooses to hang out with you, sleeps on your chest, and gives you that slow blink across the room, that love was freely given. You earned every bit of it. Which brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with in this explainer. Are you listening to the whisper? All the science is pointing to the fact that cats do deeply, profoundly love us. The crazy twist is just that the love was there all along, we just couldn't see it. We were standing around waiting for a dog's loud, noisy devotion, while our cat was quietly slow blinking its heart out from the other side of the room. So stop waiting for them to bark their feelings and start watching for those whispers. And hey, next time they lock eyes with you and slowly knock a glass of water off the kitchen table, well, okay, that one's not love, that's just them being a cat.
US एक्सप्लेनर को सब्सक्राइब कर लो प्लीज़। मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए लाइक सब्सक्राइब कर लो।